Hello and welcome back to We're Cool Fam. I'm Jessica and I'm here to talk to you about how Allister's very first neurologist appointment went. He recently got diagnosed with absence seizures if you're new to the channel, and you can watch the previous videos that I'll have listed below to kind of get a better idea of what his story is and how we found out and everything like that. I'm also going to bring Alyster in at the end and just talk to him a little bit and have him talk to you guys, just so you can kind of see his point of view. I think that it would be helpful to maybe another child that's going through this, or maybe just to you guys as well. So we're just gonna hop right in. So Alyster had his appointment a couple weeks ago now, and I definitely needed a little bit of time to kind of soak in all of the information that we had got at the appointment. And I've been feeling just a little bit down, just nervous and just so anxious about making the right decisions for Alyster. But the appointment went really well. We went in and met his doctor, and we really love his doctor. So that's huge because it's a really hard thing to just switch doctors or get a second opinion. A lot of people suggest that. They'll say, you know, like, get a second opinion before you make any decisions, but it's really not that easy. Right now, Alyster's doctor has a 12-month wait period time, and for us, if we had to wait another year before seeing a new neurologist and making our decisions, we don't feel that that would be the best idea to make Alyster go another year having, you know, 30 seizures a day. So that's just some information that you might not know, that it is hard to go just switch doctors, and that's such a bummer for those who get doctors for whatever the matter might be and they don't agree with the doctor or they don't like the doctor. I can't imagine how hard that is, and especially if you're the parent trying to figure out a plan for your child. That is just heartbreaking, and I feel very lucky that we really love his doctor. We are so lucky that he approves different treatments that we are interested in learning more about, and that's not very common for the neurologists. So anyways, we basically just went over what absence seizures are. He looked at Allister's EEG and talked to Alyster, did a bunch of little tests, which we can talk about with Allie when he's here. He just like asked him different questions and did kind of like a physical checkup. He asked us a lot of questions and was able to look at our videos and stuff to see how Alyster was affected exactly during his absence seizures, which helped him come up with the best treatment plan that he could suggest to us. Now, when we were at the appointment, he actually went over basically all of the treatment options that there are, or maybe like the main treatments that there are for absence seizures, and he went into depth about all of them. He talked about different studies that were taken in Oregon for those different treatments, and he explained it in a way that was easy for us to understand, which was really nice. Going into the appointment, Hans and I felt like we knew exactly what treatment we wanted to do. We were totally against other options. Medication, to be exact, we were thinking there's no way in heck, there's too many side effects and things like that. But honestly, going in and talking to his doctor, he gave us so much information that it made the decision part a lot harder, because there was so much more to think about. And that was why I was feeling really stressed after the appointment, because it was time to make a decision and choose something that could work or could not work, could cause lots of side effects or pain, or maybe it wouldn't. And that's a lot of pressure on someone, and it sucks. I can tell you this, that I'm not going to feel 100% good about deciding any of the treatment options. I'm not. Because they all have side effects. Even the CBD oil, the medical marijuana, there can be side effects. And I think there can be a lot less. But there can be things that can happen with that route as well. And just making the decision, like actually making the decision, was really hard for me. So Hans and I, basically we did not make our decision on the spot. And our doctor could tell that we wanted a little bit more time. He even suggested, he said, why don't you guys go home, talk about this over the weekend, and then you can email me. And we actually have like an online system called My Chart, I think, where we can easily communicate with him. So even though it's hard to get in to see him, now we kind of have an easy way to communicate with him. And so we decided that was the best idea, to go home and take everything in and talk about it, and then, you know, decide and get back to him, which we did. I'm going to talk about the few treatments that we went over. And so number one, obviously, is medication, and there are more than one medication. We specifically talked about ethosuximide, Depakote, Lamictal, I'm not sure, I can't remember if those two were the same, Keppra, zonisamide, and benzodiazepines, which that's not like those last three that I just mentioned. Those are kind of alternative medications, but they are options that do work for some patients. So he wanted to go over everything. And then of course, there is medical marijuana, and there is also the option not to treat absence seizures. And some people, that might be the right answer. If your child is with you 24/7 and maybe they don't have very many seizures a day, you know, that might be a good option. It's really going to be completely different for each person. There is not one right answer. There is not one right treatment that's going to work for every single person, because all of these treatments are going to affect a person completely differently. So Hans and I actually decided that at this point, we are not going to share what treatment option we are choosing to do on camera, at least. Of course, our very close family and friends, we will eventually talk to them about it if we feel, if, you know, they want to know. Now, the reason I make these videos is to spread awareness and spread information and help anyone or be supportive to someone else who's going through the same thing. So I realized that once Allister is in the treatment that we choose, it might be really helpful to share what is going on with him, and I may decide to do that. I might change my mind. At this point, I'm thinking that I probably will share more information when he is doing a certain treatment. But right now, it's just not worth the stress, because there are trolls on the internet, there are people who are very opinionated, and I don't need that stress. I totally look up to the YouTubers that have such a strong skin and are able to come on here and share every single detail and not really care that people are gonna say, you're killing your kid by doing this or that, or you're doing it all wrong. But I don't have that strong of skin, and I'm already feeling anxious and nervous and scared, not necessarily about what we're choosing to do, but just the whole situation. And so I just wanted to explain that a little bit, why I'm not going to go further into detail about what we're choosing. But I guess we are choosing to do a treatment. We did discuss a little bit about the fact that maybe we could not treat the seizures, because they don't really affect him. If you have seen any that I've played for you guys, he might be confused for a second, but he just goes back to what he's doing. They don't affect him physically, so I thought. But the doctor and I and Hans actually talked a little bit about that option, obviously, and he did explain to me that, you know, seizures do happen at night as well, most likely, especially if the child's having them all day long. And the seizures do actually affect the brain, and they can affect the memory portion of the brain. So some kids actually have a hard time learning with absence seizures, because there are so many pauses throughout the day that they are missing little snippets of information. And then when they're sleeping and their brain's having seizures, and while their brain's working on the memory portion, you can lose information that way as well. So these seizures, they can manifest into other types of seizures, more dangerous seizures, and when you choose to not treat the seizures, I think that you have a higher chance of that happening, just from the things that I've read and from talking to his doctor. I'm not going to say that's 100% information. That's just what I believe after talking to his doctor and things that I've read. So also the other thing is, if you choose to not do a treatment, then in my opinion, I think it would be best to have the child be homeschooled so that you can take that extra time to pause with them when they're having a seizure, and you can repeat yourself if needed, or you can, you know, start over when they are back to reality. Also, doing sports would probably not really be a great idea. It has a lot to do with safety, because I've even seen Alyster have a seizure when he was walking on a sidewalk. I was right next to him, and he had a seizure and he started to veer off right off the sidewalk. And luckily I'm with him, and he has parental guidance almost all the time, so a lot of these situations are not going to be horrible for him because an adult is there to redirect him. He's also at a school right now where it's super small, and where his teacher, if she needs, she can repeat herself to him. So it hasn't been an issue for us right now, but I think that moving along to kindergarten years it would be. And I don't think that we're going to do homeschool. I'm not against homeschool, and if that was like the only thing that we needed to do to make it so we didn't have to treat the seizures, it might be something we looked into, but there's no point going into ifs, ands, or buts. That's just not going to work for our situation. We do not feel comfortable with not treating these seizures, not at all. We don't want him having 30 seizures a day, you know, and so that's why we chose to do a treatment, so I can get that information to you guys. And like I said, in the future I might change my mind, and I might share with you when we start his treatment, and might share with you what's working, what's not. But even then, that information, I don't know if it will be valuable to anyone, because even if he did or didn't have side effects, that doesn't mean that your kid is or isn't. But maybe just like sharing the journey would help, because that could be support for someone. And I get that, and that's what I love about YouTube, is being able to support people but also getting support back. So I hope that you guys respect our decisions not to share that information with you guys yet. We can still share all about the journey and, you know, tell you what's going on with Alyster. And I think there's still a lot of awareness that I can spread, because I'm doing my best to learn as much as I can about childhood epilepsy. And then the other thing I guess I can update you guys on is that we will most likely start treatment around spring break, because we want to do it when he'll be home for a little bit, just in case there are any side effects. But yeah, obviously we're hoping there's not. So I think that's all that I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm going to bring Alyster in and we can talk to him a little bit now. So guys, if you are new to our channel, then this is Alyster. And Allie, we are talking about your very first neurologist appointment. Do you remember what a neurologist is?
EEG.
EEG, you remember that you had your EEG, so you remember that they go together. Do you remember, why did we see a neurologist doctor? What were we talking about?
My brain, my seizures.
Yes. And I just wanted you to share with, if there are other kids watching, what was your appointment like? Was it scary or fun? What did you think? I shouldn't have gave you options there, but what did you think about your appointment, buddy?
I liked it.
Was your doctor nice?
Yeah, but first I cried because I wouldn't think I would like it. First I was going to say I didn't like it.
Yeah, you were kind of nervous, but your doctor was really nice. Did he ask you a bunch of questions and he showed you a bunch of little toys and things like that?
Well, that's not the one where I got my EEG.
Yeah, you're right. That's your neurologist. That's what we're talking about. Can you tell the kids anything if they have to get if they have to go see a neurologist or see a doctor about their seizures? What can you tell them?
I don't.
Can you tell them to be brave and strong? And if you can do it, they can do it?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Boo!
Bye.